Welcome everyone to MetroConnect. This is a program brought to you from Metro Human Resources and Metro General Services, and this is our fourth year of this program. This is designed to bring Metro employees together across departments and divisions to meet each other and also to learn about the exciting work that we're doing as a city. We try to feature innovative and sustainable and interesting projects and facilities from a variety of departments. This year we have tours that are both virtual, like today's, and also in person. And so we're just pleased that you joined us. And this is our last tour of the season, but we should be back again in 2022. So with that, let's get to know a little bit more about what we'll be doing today. So we're going to be touring the Fulton campus with a focus on the green and sustainable and particularly stormwater control features of Fulton campus. The campus is named after former Mayor Richard H. Fulton, and it's home to 3 city office buildings which provide a variety of public services. Thoughtfully designed, Fulton campus has dedicated outdoor areas for employees and visitors alike to enjoy. These green spaces also perform important environmental functions, and we'll learn more about that. We have 2 wonderful tour guides. The first is Elizabeth Stienstraw. She's an environmental compliance officer with Metro Water Services, working to implement a new pollution prevention program that will ensure post-construction stormwater control measures function as designed and help reduce pollution in our waterways. Before she joined Metro in 2017, Elizabeth worked with an engineering consulting company and was responsible for environmental, health and safety compliance for a manufacturing facility. She earned her BS from the University of South Alabama in geography and geology. So thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Our other tour guide is Michelle Hamman. She is the Research and Special Projects Manager for General Services Division of Sustainability and enjoys doing research to advance sustainable practices within our buildings. As technologies evolve, General Services is working to conserve energy, water, and other resources in both new and existing buildings. Michelle has a Master of Engineering from the University of Stellenbosch in South Africa and has worked as a biomedical engineer for companies on the East Coast. She wanted to combine her engineering background with her passion for sustainability, so she returned to Lipscomb University for a Master of Science in Sustainability with a focus on green building. All right.
Hi, we are your tour guides today for this tour of Fulton campus. I'm Michelle Hamman, and I'm with General Services. I'm the Research and Special Projects Manager within the Division of Sustainability. General Services delivers an array of services to all departments of Metro so that the departments are able to achieve their own missions. General Services has 5 divisions, of which one is sustainability. The Division of Sustainability integrates sustainable practices throughout the department's programs, projects, and operations to reduce energy, waste, and greenhouse gas emissions. The division also works to educate Metro employees about sustainability.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Stienstraw. I've been with Metro Water Services for the past 5 years. I'm currently an environmental compliance officer in the stormwater division. Metro Water overall takes care of your drinking water, your wastewater, and stormwater management. In our department, stormwater, we ensure that the infrastructure for Metro Water Services is maintained and that your drinking water is protected. Now join us on a tour of the campus to see some of these structures.
Here we are on Fulton campus, a hub of Nashville city operations. We have hundreds of Metro employees working here every day, hundreds of visitors every day, 3 office buildings, and lots of green space. This campus was designed with sustainability in mind, and today's tour will highlight some of these features, from bioretention areas, permeable pavers, water quality units, and lots of green space. Two of the buildings on this campus is LEED certified. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, the most widely used green building rating system in the world. LEED provides us a framework for a healthy, efficient, and cost-saving green building. Howard Office Building and Lindsley Hall was certified LEED Silver in 2011 after renovations, so it's been a whole 10 years.
Behind me, you see, is a bioretention. This is basically a big hole that has engineered media mix in it, vegetation, and some river rock throughout the center to help dissipate with stormwater. These function to filter water, infiltrate through the ground, and also serve as a flood prevention technique for stormwater infrastructure. And Metro Water Services has placed these seals on our storm drains to ensure that our citizens know that these drains lead directly to the Cumberland River, which is our source of drinking water.
As Nashville gets more and more developed, we're losing green space, and it's important for us to have areas where the water can infiltrate into the soil. So for that reason, we have this big parking lot that's made up of permeable pavers so that we can manage the stormwater efficiently by allowing the water to go through the pavers, through this layer of sub-rock, the rock layer below the pavers, into the soil below. And in this way, we help manage the stormwater, reduce the surface runoff, and decrease flooding risk in Nashville. The runoff can otherwise overwhelm the stormwater management systems. Plus, in Nashville, we know all about flooding. The surface of these pavers clog over time with mulch that runs off onto the parking lot, cigarette butts that people throw down. So it's important to maintain this. And we did this recently with a vacuum truck that sucked up all the gravel and the weeds and everything in between. And then we put in a new layer of gravel so that the water can easily flow through the pavers. And I'd love to show you how the water drains through this parking lot. Just see how it drains. We just showed you the permeable paver parking lot for cars, but we also have parking for bicycles here on campus. This one's a banjo that was part of a public art project.
Now we're going to take a look at a water quality vault that's on campus. As you've noticed, I've changed into my vest, and you see these safety cones behind me. That's all to make sure that when we're opening these units, we're safe. This water quality unit has 3 chambers. The first chamber is going to collect the sediment that runs off of, say, a parking lot or roof drains. The second chamber is going to collect the larger items like water bottles and maybe some leaves. And then this third chamber is, in theory, the best water that we want to have enter into our system. Now let's take a look. And that's what the inside of one of these water quality units looks like. And this is the last stop of our tour. If you notice behind me, there's a really big head wall covered in vegetation, masking it pretty well. But underneath that is 2 underground detention units. These units, during a rain event, capture the rain from your parking lot and roof drains and holds it and stores it and allows it to prevent flooding downstream and protects the infrastructure from flooding. For more information on stormwater control measures, visit scm.nashville.gov. And for more information about General Services Sustainability Program, visit socket.nashville.gov.
Yay! Thank you so much, Liz and Michelle. And thanks also to Metro Nashville Network that produced that video for us. It is awesome. So we really appreciate them as partners. So you guys have gotten a glimpse into some of the green features and stormwater control measures at Fulton campus, but now we have the opportunity to ask our tour guides, Michelle and Liz, any questions we might have about what you learned in the video or just anything else you may have seen on campus or any clarifications. And I'm going to start off just by restating the question that Cindy had before we got started and see if Michelle or Liz wants to kind of move a little further with that question about what does it mean to slow the water down and why is that important?
I guess I'll start. For developments that are commercial properties, we are permitted to treat the first inch that falls on that property, meaning any person who has a property that's been developed has to treat that first 1 inch through their stormwater feature. And so when we say we want to slow the water down, that's basically what we want to do. We want to slow the water down enough for it to filter that first inch and also to kind of prevent downstream flooding. And that's really important because we don't want to inundate our systems with too much stormwater. So we're really just asking the sites to take care of their responsible portion of that and also to provide some storage while a rain event is occurring so that it can settle out and filter the water, but also to prevent downstream flooding.
Thanks, Liz. And so you guys, we have a small group, 16 of us, so feel free to just unmute yourself if you want to state your name and department, and then feel free to ask your questions. If you can't, if you don't have audio, you can also type it in the chat and we'll ask it that way, but feel free. We have some time to ask questions to our guides.
This is Olivia Rancine. I'm with the planning department. I was wondering, I think in the video it was mentioned that the permeable pavers have to be cleaned every so often. How often is that?
Olivia, this was the first time, as far as I know, that it was cleaned, and it was built in 2011, 2012. So probably around every 10 years, but it depends on how much mulch and cigarette butts and other things clog the system. So it kind of depends on what's happening there. So I guess we'll see how it goes in the next 10 years and if it's needed more frequently, but I would think about every 10 years.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know if it was like more of a frequent thing. That's really cool. All right.
Michelle, could you expand? I know there's permeable pavers and then there's pervious pavement, and we have an example of that on Fulton campus as well, don't we? What's the difference and does it function similarly?
Yes, there's pervious concrete, and that's in some of the, if I remember correctly, in some of the parking spaces behind Lindsley Hall. Maybe Liz can help me out also. So the pervious pavers are just, they have gaps in between the pavers. The pervious concrete is just a different mix where it's supposed to filter. There's larger holes in the concrete and it's supposed to filter through. But I think in our experience that clogs more easily.
Yes, I mean, Michelle is completely right. They both filter in similar fashions. One is just maybe preferred over the other depending on your property usage. So say, you know, the Fulton campus is pretty busy, which is probably why that permeable concrete didn't do as well, didn't perform as well, and kind of clogged a little easier than we would have liked. And as far as the permeable pavement, which is the interlocking pavers, that just kind of has a better resiliency to a heavier trafficked area. And to speak to Olivia's question about maintenance, there is routine maintenance that is required of these permeable pavements. And really, it's just something as simple as blowing off the leaves, you know, making sure floatables are not on there, which is basically trash. So like soda cans and potato chip bags are kind of removed and picked up. But then there are kind of the more extensive maintenance jobs, which Michelle mentioned, don't have to happen every year. But if you notice that, say, 50% of your permeable pavement isn't functioning, you would want to make sure that you perform that heavy duty maintenance for those permeable pavers. Any other questions?
This is Olivia again.
Sure, no, keep it going.
All right. I'm just very interested in stormwater. So I was wondering, have there been, I think that y'all mentioned that this has been around for like 10 years now or so. And is there any way to measure the impact on stormwater from this area based on the changes that have happened in terms of permeable pavers and stormwater management?
You know, that's a great question. The only measurable value that I can kind of think of offhand would be just an engineering calculation of volume stored during a single rain event, and then maybe kind of multiplying that by however many of those events happen throughout the year, which is super technical and people can't relate to it all the time. So I will say that that's something that we're trying to come up with is kind of an easily quantifiable value for the citizens to kind of wrap their head around, showing that these features are actually functioning to prevent that flooding and also to protect their waters and keep it clean. So it's a working question, I think, but I think it's definitely you know, worth going down that road and kind of trying to come up with a solution and maybe even a little presentation for the citizens of, hey, this is helping clean your water. So I think it's something we can do in the future.
Yeah, I was just curious because it seems like something that's really impactful, but also hard to quantify and can be difficult to communicate to the general population as well.
Yes, fair statements on both ends.
Olivia, I did try for a little bit to see if we can figure out how much rainwater was drained through the permeable pavers, but it depends on how intense the rain is, how often it rains, how much it rained. So there's just so many variables that, yeah, it it wasn't easy to do.
And Michelle, as I remember in that sort of initial research that you did, it looked like we might be able to estimate that around 75% of the rainfall that was falling was able to be held on site. Is that what you saw? I mean, just as a back of the napkin, a majority.
Like a rough estimate is 75% of the rainfall, but yeah, then there's many variables.
I will say though that we really are trying to find a way to communicate that to the citizens. I know I've been working with one of the engineers to try to figure out how we can quantify that in a citizen language, because I think it'd be really nice to showcase and to show that, you know, although you walk past these structures all the time and you maybe don't even see them, they're underground, they are helping treat and protect your waterways. And so they're important to invest in and important to maintain. So. So does anyone have a question about any of the other SCMs we saw?
I think I missed it kind of. This is Olivia again. But can you, I think there was kind of like a basin, like a retention base. Did I miss that?
Retention?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just want to know a little bit more about it?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the bioretentions are one option for designers when they're developing a site. And I think prior to our new manual regulations, we just redid our regulation standards for stormwater. So our management manual was, I guess, updated rather. And so a lot of the designers were choosing that because it's pretty, right? You have flowers, you have vegetation, it's kind of alive and it's living. But with that does come certain things and responsibilities. So because it is vegetation, it is very seasonal. So you have seasonal die-off, you have your seasonal replanting sometimes if you choose an ornamental vegetation type. But for basic purposes, a bioretention is just a green version of stormwater treatment. It has engineered soils underneath it. So the bottom layer is going to be a stone mix to allow for water to kind of settle and capture in there. That next layer is going to be a specialized bioretention mix. And so it's like an organic, really there to help stabilize those vegetations, but also there to help draw out the pollutants that are being received from stormwater as well. And then on that top layer, you'll have either mulch or you'll have riverstone, and then you'll have your planted vegetations. And within Davidson County, we require 75% canopy coverage. So basically 75% of that full basin needs to be covered with some sort of vegetation type. And that can be a tree, a bush, a shrub, an ornamental plant, just something to kind of aid in that pollutant removal for the stormwater. Kind of in general, that's what a bioretention is.
Oh, thank you, Liz, for that's really interesting. I'm kind of familiar with bioretention basins, but I appreciate that expansion. And I didn't realize that there was a canopy coverage requirement as well. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and that's really just to keep the basin stabilized and also to keep that organic matter in there so that those pollutants can be removed. And you know, those roots help take the water up as well, not only the pollutants but the water too. So you know, it's all its own little system, and so you kind of have to have those requirements in order to make sure that they maintain within themselves.
Gotcha.
And there's a few bioretentions, right, Liz, on the Fulton campus. So there's the one that you showcased, which is right there on Lindsley Avenue. And then there's two, I think, of the rock-lined ones that are in between the parking garage and kind of behind Lindsley Hall over there. And then maybe one over closer to Howard Office Building. So there's quite a few kind of scattered throughout the campus to help.
And it also depends on the size of the bioretention, on how much treatment you receive, and that really is dependent on how much, you know, square footage it's trying to filter. Because like I said earlier, we have that required 1 inch of capturing of the stormwater and at least filtering that first 1 inch. And so they're really just sized in order to treat that water for that particular development.
Okay, someone other than Olivia, does anyone else have a question? Come on,
Please
y'all.
ask us. We're
Olivia
here.
has been our question extraordinaire asker.
Thank you.
Well, I'll jump in. There was one thing that you mentioned, Liz, on the one of the in-person tours that was interesting, and it was about basically emergency vehicles and green space. And can you talk a little bit more about that? How the green space has, even though it's green, it has some features that allow for vehicles in the case of an emergency.
Sure. So, forgive me, I don't know the names of all of the buildings. So, what two buildings sit on either side of that area, if you'll let them know?
Yeah, like right in between Howard Office Building and kind of the Children's Theater and Lindsley Hall, in that large green space with the picnic tables and large mature trees over there.
The trees and yes, okay. So in between that space, I guess during development, they really wanted to capitalize on allowing there to be green space for people, especially the people working in the buildings, but also to kind of showcase that green infrastructure can not only be pretty, but also function in a formal fashion. And so in between those two buildings, underneath the grass is actually a geotextile fabrication material. And I say geotech because there are so many different kinds that I don't even know which one this is, but their simple function in this purpose is to allow for an extensive amount of weight to be placed upon them. So basically, it is akin to a concrete slab being poured instead of it being concrete. So because they wanted to focus on green infrastructure, what they did instead was put this geotech down and then allow grass to grow over top of it. And when doing that, it still allowed for emergency vehicles to enter the area and be stabilized if they had to, for any reason, fight a fire within those buildings. So if you wanted to drive a fire truck through that alleyway, or if you wanted to get an ambulance vehicle within that space as well, that ground isn't grass. It's solid enough to hold those vehicles and make sure that they can function and do their job accordingly. I hope that helped.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think it's just cool for us to think about a place that we may go every day, and yet right beneath our feet, there's all kinds of interesting, engineering elements that we might not be aware of, but that are really helping both from an environmental standpoint, but also in this case, like a public safety. So I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Anybody got anything? Olivia, you can even jump in again if you would like, if you have anything.
I think I'm good. I think all my questions have been answered. I've
Perfect.
really enjoyed this though. I guess I do have one question. My questions never end. Have these kind of practices been implemented at any of the other metro buildings or metro owned properties across Nashville?
Yes, a lot. I am actually in charge of inspecting all of the Metro site facilities and preparing an annual report, which is part of our permit. And when I say permit, I'm talking about our pollution discharge permit that we as Metro operate underneath from the state, and also, higher than that from the EPA as well. And so we are under a regulatory mandate to make sure that our Metro facilities are maintained and inspected annually, and that we are showing progress towards any non-compliance issues that we note during an inspection. And so we have 14 Metro departments that I'm responsible for, and they all have structures similar to this. Some are underground, some are above ground, but they are all still responsible for that maintenance and inspection of those structures.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, Elizabeth sends us a report every year with all the general services facilities with stormwater control measures and what we need to do to maintain them.
And of course,
Cool. And how do you? Sorry, I was going to ask how we get the report. Is that on the website or?
So right now we just send it to the department. So we'll just send it to the department, and we'll send them a list of their sites and a list of what those structures are and what we noted for that year. We are, however, working on getting that implemented on our intranet so that everyone has access to it who maybe would want to find out more information about how a particular facility is doing. So that could be something that's coming in the future, but honestly, just email me if you want to know. I'm the one doing it. So just send me an email and be like, hey, what's going on at this site? How are they doing? And I'll be happy to answer your questions. That's fine too.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Liz.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks for all your questions, Olivia, and thanks everyone else for your attention. And I do want to mention one thing that came in the chat from Julie Berbelia, also at Water Services. She has a website in there for Tennessee Smart Yards, and on that website you can find a lot of information about how you can help to control stormwater at home. So a lot of great tips there, and I know Julie is doing a lot of webinars and other events to try to educate folks in our county around what we can do. So definitely check out that resource. Okay, so we're going to move on to our quiz. So the quiz is based on the video that we watched, and you can see here in the chat, here's how we're going to play. You are going to open a browser. You can either just open up a new tab on your computer, or else you can go on your phone, and you want to go to menti, menti.com. You're going to enter a code, which I'm about to give you. Pick an avatar and a nickname, and we will do a quiz. So let me open this for us here. Okay. All right. So again, go to menti.com and you want to enter this code that you see up here. It's 62993875. 62993875. And you should have the opportunity to like pick a little avatar, make a nickname, and yeah, here we go. Here come all our little friends. We'll give folks a few more seconds to go to menti.com and enter 62993875. We want everybody to play. Okay, good. So we're going to have 5 questions. These again are based on the video. And you are going to receive points not only for correct answers, but also for quick answers. So you want to be both fast and accurate. I'm going to wait 10 more seconds in case we have any. Oh, good. A few more people. Yay. And then we'll get started. And the prize for the winner is quite exciting. It is a swag bag of Socket Nashville Sustainability Outlet items. We have a wonderful t-shirt just like this, a canvas tote bag, a water bottle, some stickers, coloring books, all sorts of fun stuff from Socket. So you won't be disappointed. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started on the quiz. Here we go. A bioretention's primary purpose is to... Which one?
This is really cute. I've never done this before. I like this.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's interactive too. It's nice.
All right, yay, good job. Okay, so this was a little tricky because as we discussed, bioretentions do all of these things. And one thing that wasn't included in here is that they filter the water, they filter pollutants out. But yep, they do all of this, but really the primary purpose is to kind of capture and slow down that stormwater. So good job. Okay, next question, question number 2. The Division of Sustainability is part of which Metro department? Very good. Yes, General Services. We have 5 divisions, and one of them is the Division of Sustainability, which is where Michelle works, and I work in that division too. And Laurel Creech, our assistant director, is also on the meeting today. So good job. Next question. All right, question 3. The water quality unit or vault that was featured in the video has how many chambers? Hopefully you were paying attention to Liz there in her reflective vest.
And my nervous energy on the video. Yes.
Very good. Okay, that's right. 3 chambers. And as Liz mentioned in the video, each chamber kind of serves a different function to kind of filter out various pollutants from the water so that then it can flow down into the sewer system. Okay, good job. Most of you are getting them all right. Okay, question 4. LEED, or LEED, stands for... Oh, I can see now that I didn't finish this question. Okay, I was making the quiz with last minute. Apologies. It should be easy since there's only 2 choices. Sorry. Yay! Everybody got it right. Good job. Yes, it does not stand for lead extraction environmental decommissioning. It stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And LEED is the standard. It's, as Michelle mentioned, an international green building standard that we use for all of our metro buildings, all the new buildings that we're building, to make sure that they are green and sustainable and efficient and wonderful places both to work and to visit. So LEED is our standard. Okay, let's see who's in the lead right now. We have one more question. Looks like Pingu is in the lead with Velvet and Montana and Edna close behind. Okay, so we have one more question. So we'll see who's going to be our winner here in just a minute. Remember, you get points for both correct answers and fast answers. Permeable pavers. Ta-da! That's right. All of the above. Again, sort of tricky. Permeable pavers do need to be maintained. They do allow stormwater to infiltrate. They can help reduce the risk of flooding, but all of the above is the correct answer. Okay, so let's see who our big winner is. Drum roll.
Yay!
Pingu, who I think won in a previous virtual tour as well. Congratulations. And Montana right behind. Good job. Good job. Thanks for playing, everybody. That's fun, and you did great. So I hope that you learned a little bit more about Fulton campus and the stormwater control measures. Really appreciate you coming today. And Pingu, if you are not the same person who won in the last virtual tour, feel free to email me and I'll hook you up with your prize. And before we go, I again want to thank Metro Human Resources and of course the Department of General Services that I work for sponsoring MetroConnect, and Metro Nashville Network for their fabulous work on the video. And of course our amazing tour guides, Elizabeth and Michelle. Thank you all so much for leading us through. And then I would invite each of you who participated today to take this survey. You can see it's right here in the chat. Take the survey and let us know how we can improve the tours in the future and what you liked, and maybe where you would like to visit either virtually or in person in the future. That'll really help us improve this program and help it fit your needs. And then last, we have something new this year for MetroConnect. It's an opportunity for you to take the information and inspiration from these tours and actually take action. So you can see here, we have the opportunity for you to do a sustainability audit of your workspace. This link will take you to a checklist where you can go through your workspace, if it's at home or in an office, and check off opportunities to improve the sustainability of your space. And then we will assist you and kind of support you in possibly making some of those changes. So please check that out and take a look. We're also gonna, everyone who fills out a survey will be entered to win a prize. It won't be a Socket swag bag, but it will be something cool. So check that out and please stay involved with us in the future. This is our last tour of MetroConnect 2021. So we really appreciate you all participating, and please look for us again next fall. And thanks again. Appreciate you all.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Olivia.
Bye. Bye. See everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.